Oh, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome on back to the channel. Hope that you're doing well. Hope that you're feeling pretty good today. I came across this video over on YouTube, and I said, you know what? Let me react to it with you guys. You guys can watch this alongside with me. I was curious. We're listening to the White Album at the moment, and this video is about the Beatles' reaction in hearing about John Lennon's very untimely death and his assassination. So I thought that this would be kind of an interesting video to watch together. Of course, myself not growing up in that generation or around that time, I don't have that deeper connection that a lot of you guys do. I just threw my headphone wire. That a lot of you guys do to this event. So for me, this is more historical, while for a lot of you guys, this is probably going to be more personal. So of course, I would love to hear from you guys. What was obviously there's a mood, but how did you feel? Where were you at when you heard about John Lennon's death? But for now, let me go ahead and pull up the video and we'll watch this. Oh, and by the way, just to give credit, of course, to where credit's due, this is a video by P. Pate, just to put that out there. Of course, it'll be linked below. Let's go. 1980, 9 years before I was even born.
I was very shocked, It's terrible news.
How did you find out about it?
I got a phone call this morning.
From whom?
From a friend of mine.
Are you planning to go before the funeral?
I don't know yet.
Have you discussed the death with any of the other Beatles?
No.
Do you plan to?
Probably, yeah.
What were you recording today?
I was just listening to some stuff, I just didn't want to sit at home.
Why?
Oh, God, didn't feel like it.
What time did you hear the news?
This morning sometime. Very early.
They're kind of... I know that this is like what paparazzi and news people do, but like, this is him. He just heard about the news this morning or that morning, and he's just hounded by the vultures, like trying to... I understand, get answers and stuff like that, but sometimes you gotta just like leave a person alone to kind of deal with it.
Yeah. Got now, yeah? Drag, isn't it? Okay, cheers. Come on.
Hello, guys.
A drag isn't how the world will see it, nor can there ever be any more talk of the Beatles getting together again.
Yeah. Like, I understand in a very small way how, him saying it's a drag, isn't it, seems, I guess, a little bit too cool for what the audience and what the news people wanted and everything. But there's a certain way you deal with that kind of thing. You deal with the grief. It's the immediate shock of it. He doesn't want to talk to all these people. He doesn't want to be in the lights. He doesn't want to be around all this. He wants to have his time, as I'm sure all the rest of them as well did. Like, yeah, he said it to brush them off so he can be allowed to grieve properly. This is George Harrison now.
George, how did you hear it?
Yeah, I was in bed at the time in England, and I don't know, the call came through sometime in the morning, 4 or 5 in the morning. I didn't take the call. Olivia took the call, and she said, John's been shot. And I thought, oh, how bad is it? I just thought maybe a flesh wound or something like that. But they said, no, that's it, he's dead. So I didn't know. I just went back to sleep, actually. I just, maybe it's just a way of getting away from it. I just went to sleep.
Yeah, yeah.
And then waited to see, what it said the next morning. And he was still dead the next morning, unfortunately.
Oh.
But,
like, really quick, I think that that's something really interesting what he just said, Harrison said. He got the call in the middle of the night, immediately thought, it's not that big a deal. Probably just a little, something happened. But then, no, he's dead. And then he says he went right back to sleep. I really like what he said about that was almost like his way of trying to escape the truth, basically. It was basically his way of maybe, in the back of his mind, of course, like maybe the next morning, we'll get clarification that, oh, no, that's not what happened. It was just this, I just think that was a really, really interesting comment from Harrison.
I feel not so bad about it, in as much as, you know, I had this, you know, unlike Ringo, when I went to Rishikesh in India, I went into meditation and had some good experiences, and I got to...
I had some good experiences.
I know you did, and you forgot to tell them that.
Well, yeah, but you only asked about the eggs.
So, I believe what it says in the scriptures and in the Bhagavad Gita. It says there was never a time when you didn't exist, and there'll never be a time when you cease to exist. The only thing that changes is our bodily condition. Soul comes in the body, and we go from birth to death, and it's death. How I look at it is like taking your suit off. You know, the soul is in these three bodies, and one body falls off. And I feel like that. I can feel him around here.
Oh,
and,
I've seen him twice.
He's
Did
still...
he feel that?
No, I have.
You've seen
Oh,
him?
yeah.
I like how he's coping with it and how he looks at it. Of course, it's something extremely sad, but he has that kind of spiritual belief and guidance that he has to feel Lennon around and feel his energy and realize that he's still carrying him with him in some capacity. I thought that's nice. All right, Ringo.
I'm really sad. I still miss John a great deal. I'll always miss him, you know, but it's still brand new.
When you heard about, how did you hear about it?
Barbara's daughter called us up saying John's been shot. And so that drove me crazy, but you think he's been shot, he's shot in the arm, shot in the leg. And then they came back and they said he's dead. Do you want to stop that now?
No.
Because it doesn't help, you know, but it always gets me upset. Don't know.
But it would be amazing if you didn't.
Yeah, he was a great friend.
Tell us about the good time. When did you see him last, and what was it like?
I saw him on the 15th of November, and I was staying in the Plaza. We went over to New York for a while, and I hadn't seen him for a while because, you know, we see each other wherever we are, and he came over with Yoko for an hour, and we had such a great time because they stayed 5 hours.
Man, you can really see in Ringo's eyes, he choked up on his words. You can see how close he felt to John, but also just, besides the obvious emotional impact, you can really see that it affected him. It really, you know, hit his heart. And I'm not discounting what, you know, of the other Beatles, you know, said and reacted to, but you could just see it in his eyes. There was just something you could see in his eyes and the quivering of his lips and the sadness that he was still processing there. And how he even says, you know, thinking back to it, you know, it always makes him sad. It always brings him down. Yoko.
How many years is it? 80, so the 20, 10, 30 years ago or something. So, and I still get affected by it. Yes, it does. I mean, it does affect me. I felt that we were doing very well in New York together, and that's gone, you know. And the fact that it was gone so suddenly too, I think that affected me, because if it was a slow process, we could have talked about it or anything. But the last John I remember is a very gregarious, energetic, high-spirited guy. It's a kind of sad and very poignant kind of paradox, I think, that he loved this place so much, and that's where he was killed. I think that Sean would not like to think about it. You see, right now, he's growing up to be his own man, and so it's not a time that he wants to just bury himself in the history of his father and mother, and maybe the three Beatles.
I like in that one how she also mentioned Sean Lennon. I believe that's Sean Lennon. I was thinking, I don't know all their kids or how many kids they have, but I'm pretty sure that's Sean. I like how she mentioned that and how, you know, life goes on in some ways. Of course, she's saddened. I mean, whether you, I guess, like Yoko Ono or not, I don't really have a connection to their history and that kind of thing. I know a lot of people dislike her, I guess, for the notion that she broke up the Beatles. I don't know anything about that. But that is true what she said about losing him so suddenly. There was no time to say goodbye, to make preparations. It was just, and that's it. And he's gone. And I don't know. I just thought that was really interesting there.
So to sort of sum up the whole thing, I've chosen one off John Lennon's record Double Fantasy, which I think is a beautiful song. It's very moving to me. Anyway, so I'd just like to sum the whole thing up by playing a song called Beautiful Boy.
It's one of those things that's both a blessing and I guess in some ways a curse to hear the music still there and recorded. You know, I think that this was a really nice little look into the immediate reaction from the rest of the guys in the band, and of course Yoko Ono, to see how they heard about it, and I guess like you said, their kind of first reactions in some ways, but in other ways, kind of looking back and remembering the day. I think their reactions were very touching. You could obviously see the kindred spirit between them all. You could see the love that they had for Mr. Lennon, and I think that was a really good, touching video and a nice insight to see into the band a little bit and into their personal way of mourning, basically. So, great video. Of course, let me know your thoughts. Let me know, like I asked in the beginning, if you were around during the time. What did you see? Where were you? How did you hear about it? What was the initial gut reaction? You know, because you even saw with the Beatles, they all had different reactions in some ways to the news. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate you. Of course, if you don't mind, just drop a like really quick. And if you'd like, you can follow me over on Twitter or support the channel on Patreon, whatever you want to do. But either way, thank you so much for being here. And I hope to talk to you all tomorrow. Bye.